Hey, hey, Big's out in the yard again on a warm summer afternoon. That is for sure. What are we going to talk about today? I'm going to give you a little friendly reminder on something. Now, with the popularity of SUVs, especially small and mid-size SUVs, Nissan Rogues, Toyota RAV4s, which I own one of those myself, Toyota Highlander, I own one of those too. Where am I going here? You know, the other day, a little while ago, I talked about change your oil. Well, there's another fluid change I'm going to recommend, although I shouldn't, because I sell more parts the other way. You know, depending on miles, a rear carrier on a late model Rogue, I can get about $900 for that. What's the point? Well, okay, I'm going to talk something that I got experience in because I own them. It's Toyota. These newer transfer cases and rear carriers, you can call it a rear diff if you want, although they're really not differentials anymore. They don't have rear ends in them. It's just a carrier. They're not really big anymore. Now on Toyota, I don't know what the recommendation is on Nissan or on Mitsubishi or on GM or Ford Escapes or whatever. But my point is, they don't hold fluid worth a crap. Now, I'm not talking about leaks. What I'm talking about is the amount of fluid. I don't think these carriers and these transfer cases hold a damn quart. Oh, pardon me, a liter. Now, Toyota recommends fluid change every 30,000 miles. Transfer case, rear carrier. I don't know what the recommendation is for any of the other brands. I could have looked it up, I suppose, but I'm not going to. Now, I will gladly sell you a transfer case, a rear carrier. I got no problem with it. But if you want to save a little money, change that fluid. I run full synthetic. I'm running Royal Purple in mine. Now, I'm not paid by Royal Purple to mention their name, but that's just what I had at home in a garage. So I brought it in. I did it on the rack. I'm going to give you one other suggestion to go along with this. Anytime you're working on one of these rear diffs or one of these transfer cases, on one of these late model units that don't hold, like I said, a liter of lubricant, first thing I'm going to recommend is make sure you can crack open the fill plug. Do that first. I know when I did my RAV, the one on the transfer case, that one was in there pretty tight. I got about a 4 foot long extension, had it on the rack, big bar. I got her. But sometimes doing that stuff at home and not being on a rack, it's a little harder to do. But get out there this weekend or whatever. I mean, it's gonna be 90s here this weekend. So imagine you're doing 80 miles an hour going down the interstate in your all-wheel drive whatever. How hot is it in that rear carrier? How hot is it in that transfer case? You know, we never worried about it too much. You know, you got your Dana 60 in your muscle car or whatever. Well, that holds several air quotes here, pints of fluid. You can go a pretty fair amount of time without changing that. These new vehicles, you cannot do that. So get full synthetic. I don't care what kind it is, just full synthetic, and I'll explain to you a little bit about full synthetic too. Now, when I did my RAV, now that was a rebuilder that I did, and I changed that fluid at 70,000 miles. Well, it was 69 and change. But the point is that fluid was already starting to look a little funky like a monkey at 69,000 miles. I'm sure it had never been changed since day one, new in a showroom. And I've talked to several people that own Toyotas and Nissans and Escapes and, yeah, you name it. And they look at you like, change the fluid? Why would I do that? Because it's cheaper than buying a new rear carrier or a new transfer case. So that's my little recommendation to save y'all some money. Don't say you don't own one, because I think 8 out of 10 people got some sort of SUV in the driveway of some type or another. You know, I can remember a time nobody wanted to, oh, that's a station wagon. That's an old man's car. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants that. And now everybody's driving SUVs. Isn't that a freaking station wagon? What the hell do I know? Anyway, trying to save you some money so you don't have to buy a rear carrier or a transfer case. Make sure you can crack that fill plug first before you drain it. That's what Big's got for today for you. Peace!